Okay, so let's start talking about part C. Part C absolutely is the final part in reading test. I know that it's the longest, but believe me, it is the easiest. It's not that hard, and absolutely, I'm going to tell you why part C, which is the last one, is really easy. Okay, now by finishing this class, absolutely, we will learn how briefly we have to look through the text to understand the general meaning, and we have to look for cues and prompts in the question to find the relevant information in the text, and we have to identify the main idea of the text, absolutely, of each paragraph, because we have paragraphs now. Finally, we have to practice these strategies for answering detailed questions, attitude questions, and opinion questions. When I say attitude, Joel, I'm talking about the writer's attitude, the opinions of the writer. So this is what I mean, the attitude of the writer by mentioning some information and his opinion or maybe her opinion if the writer is a girl. There is a question about vocabulary, and we have a question about reference. These two questions are really easy, but absolutely you have to be careful just to be able to answer them correctly. Okay. Now, in part C of the reading test, there are two texts. Absolutely, the texts are going to be the longest, with 8 questions on each one. The type of texts, absolutely, we will encounter. It's about healthcare, uh, um, workplace, and everything concerning medicine and medical, as I told you, workplace. They will not be specifically aimed at anyone of healthcare professions. So it's about in general, absolutely, and you will use terminology that can be understood easily. Don't worry. I mean by terminology, the words, the vocab that I used in the texts, all of them could be understood easily, and absolutely all of them, all the words, expressions, the information are going to be about healthcare professional. There is a combined time of 45 minutes for part B and part C. Now, if you want to finish part B in 10 minutes, you will have enough time to solve all the questions in part C. Believe me, part C is the easiest. I know that it's the longest, but it is the easiest. If you spend roughly, as I told you, 10 minutes to complete part B, now you have 35 minutes to finish completing answering part C. And as I told you, you need less than that. Now, what are the strategies that I have to know just to be able to answer all part C correctly? Now, absolutely, I have to read the instructions carefully. So we have to make sure about the instructions and about the types of the questions that I will encounter. So the instructions are going to be like in this part of the test, there are two long passages or texts about different aspects of healthcare. Now we have the questions from 7 to 22, but keep in mind that part C has 4 multiple choices, not 3. If sorry, if you notice in part B that we have 3 multiple choices, but keep in mind that here in part C, we have 4 multiple choices. Absolutely, selecting one multiple choice out of 4 is little harder, or let me say harder than selecting only one multiple choice from 3 multiple choices. So absolutely, I have to select the best answer according to the text. And I have to write my answer on my answer sheet. Okay, now let's check the format of part C. Each question refers to a discrete part of the text, and the questions appear in the order of the information in the text. This is extremely important. If you want to ask me why and what does that mean, that all the questions are going to be appeared in the order of the information. You don't have to read over and over again. If you notice previously that sometimes I have to reread a passage, um, and maybe I won't write it again But please, in part C, you don't have to read again. You only have to complete reading and complete answering. This is one feature why part C is really easy. Absolutely, you need to answer 8 questions on each of the 2 texts in the section of the text. The questions will direct you to the part of the text which the question refers to, so you don't need to skim the entire text. Here you have to scan. When I say scan, absolutely you have to check for specific information. You are not going to check the main ideas about the passages. In addition to that, once you have answered a question about one part of the text, you only need to look at the information that follows. As I told you, you don't have to read again, because if you want to do so, absolutely, you will lose your minutes and you need every single minute in reading. So you will not need to look at the previous information again and over again. This is extremely important, as I told you, because I need time to finish answering all the questions. The first thing you should do when tackling part C text is to quickly look through the passages or the text. I have to understand how the text is really organized and absolutely what is or what it is about. I'm talking about the text, and I have to skim in the beginning. When I say skimming, please, I have to read really fast. But after that, absolutely, I have to scan when I start solving the questions. You might find it helpful to make a few brief notes about the main idea or the topic of each paragraph. This is really helpful if you want to manage this skill. Believe me, if you want to take notes, you will save your minutes, because as I told you, sorry, you need every single minute to solve all the questions in reading exam. To help you to remember what the text discusses, and don't worry about understanding the text in details at any point, just give yourself a general sense. This is about skimming. When you come to answer the questions will guide you through the text. Now I think it's the time to exercise. Now, let's try to take 5 minutes to skim reading fast the text below. As you look through, we have to make a brief notes as much as we can about the context or the information. Now aim for 4 or 5 words or phrases per paragraph. This is taking notes. Absolutely, I'm not going to write complete sentences in taking notes, because in this way I will lose my time, and it's really important just to be able to know how to time myself, because as I told you, I need every single minute. Okay, thanks God, because I have already prepared this passage, and now I think I'm going to go directly to the um, passage. Okay, now let's try to read this passage really fast. After reading, absolutely, we are going to complete solving the questions that we have in part C. But to do so, I think I have these pictures. This is about part C. Let me open the 2 pictures. And absolutely, I have to adjust my screen just to be able to see them clearly. Yes, okay. This is the second picture. This is, both of them are about text number 1. No. Okay. Yes, exactly. Wait. Yes, that's better. Okay, now let me complete explaining, but I think I have to open the book like this, exactly like this. I think this is really better. Just to mention the information. Yes, exactly. Let me make zoom out. This is zoom out. Okay. And let me try to, if I can. Yes, I think this is really better. What if, yeah, okay. Now I need you, please, Joel, to read the passage really fast because I want to explain something.
I start reading.
Please, yes.
Mm. Uh, I finished the second
Uh, have you finished reading all the passage really fast?
until the second picture.
Yes, this is the whole passage.
Because that in the end it's not finished. Oh, sorry, I didn't see it.
Okay.
Sorry. Okay.
Okay, okay. So after finishing reading the passage really fast, now I think I'm going to show you how to answer these different kinds of questions. Let me try to make zoom in. What if I want to do so? Is it better? Wait, if I want to do like this, no, it isn't. Let me try. Okay. Now, after reading the passage really fast, this is skimming, you can begin to work through the 8 questions. You should aim to spend 1 to 1.5 minutes answering each question in this section. So make sure to time yourself correctly as you complete the exercises in the chapter. Now, when you come to answer the questions in part C, first of all, look at the question is asking you to do, then scan the relevant paragraph. This is exactly what I meant. In the beginning, please, Joel, you have to skim. By skimming only, I need you to get the main idea of the passage. You have to read really fast. When you finish, you have to take a look at the question. Absolutely, I have to understand the question. Then I have to scan. Scan is to look for specific information in the relevant paragraph, because sometimes in the questions, they are going to name the paragraph that you have to scan. Now I have to scan to check for specific information, then look at the answer options. I have to mark my answer, or I have to mark any answer options that definitely don't answer the question with a cross. This is not the correct answer. Okay. And if you're stuck between 2 answers or 2 answer choices, read through the relevant information again. Then, if you still can't find the answer, select one of the answer or one of the multiple choices as a guess, and please move on. So, don't spend too much time on reading and reading again. You don't have absolutely too much time. If you're still stuck, write your guess and move on. By the end of the exam, if you have some free time, absolutely, you can go back and check your answer again. If you fail, write a guess, because maybe your guess is going to be correct. The questions in part C of the reading test can be broadly divided into 3 different question types. What are they? These are the question types that we have in part C. We have detailed question, attitude question, and opinion question. Okay, we will go through each question type below and provide examples absolutely for each question type. Now, what about these 3 types of questions? Now, in detail, attitude and opinion questions. Absolutely, these questions are going to ask you to identify information from a section of the text and will most often focus on the views and the opinions of the writer. This is the meaning of the attitude of the writer, the opinion of the writer. These questions are the most common question type in part C. Now, the following list gives examples of the types of detail, attitude, and opinion questions that occur in part C. So let's take a look at this example. This example is saying, what point does the writer make the 3rd paragraph? Absolutely, they named the paragraph, so I have to read only the 3rd paragraph. I don't have to read the whole passage. This is really important. So, for example, I have to say the writer suggests that macular degeneration may increase and complete the answer, for example. And I can say in the 4th paragraph, the writer says that conventional treatments can be problematic because, just to check the point of the writer. So I think it's the time to practice. Let's practice. And absolutely, the questions are going to be the same of the passages that I'm showing right now. But let me try again to make zoom in. Maybe it's going to be better. Yes, it is. Okay, so let's take 5 minutes to answer questions from 1 to 4. Absolutely, it's really important to time ourselves. But because we are practicing, I'm not going to specify this amount of time for you, because we are practicing absolutely in the practice set. I'm going to time or specific a certain time. So this is question number 1. Please try to read it. and select the best multiple choice. And don't forget that we have 4 multiple choices.
Okay.
Okay, absolutely. The question is saying I have to read only the first paragraph. This is the first paragraph. Please read the question carefully because some students don't read the question carefully and keep reading and losing their time. Okay, now what is the suggestion of the writer about the question?
I put A.
It's exactly part of the identity, but how did you know? That's amazing.
C. Okay. Okay. They said our voices defined us. They allow our
Yes.
loved one to identify us over the phone.
Exactly. This is it. Identification, identify us. Thank you so much. This is the exact answer about number 1. So this is the writer's suggestion. And as I told you, be careful about the naming of the paragraph that the question is going to show because this is really important. If I'm not sure, if I don't read the question carefully, as I told you, I will lose my time by reading and complete reading. Okay, now let me show you question number 2.
Mm, okay.
So which answer?
B.
It is B. Patients often suffer from various conditions. That's amazing. But how did you know? Which paragraph, which line?
Okay. Uh, okay. Okay, it's important that speech replacement device for those who have lost their voice take the patient's other disability into account.
Okay, can you please tell me which paragraph and which line?
The second paragraph,
Uh-huh.
3, 4, 5, 6. The seven line,
1, 2, 3, 4,
6,
5,
7.
6, 7. So exactly, this is it. Absolutely, I have to go to the first sentence. So, as a permanent lost voice is often called speech replacement devices for those who have lost their voice. Take the patients of disabilities into account. Speech to text systems typically involve a system. Um, easier. Okay, that is it.
Yes.
Okay, so thank you so much. But I'm trying just to be more specific. Um, exactly, this is replacement, speech replacement devices, variety of methods. So this is 7, yes.
They
Okay.
said patient's other disability into account. So that's
Eh,
why, the various
Uh-huh.
conditions of it.
Exactly, this is it. Their voice take the patient's other disabilities into account, into our consideration. That's amazing. Okay, that's really good. Yes. Okay. Now, this is the correct answer about the second question. Let me show you the third one. This is the third question. Read it carefully and select the best answer.
Mm, it's C.
It's C. That's amazing. Yes. Okay. Absolutely every name is a keyword. Ragmalling is a name, so it's a keyword. I have to search immediately about this name in paragraph number 3 because they are saying that it's in paragraph number 3. So volunteer hospital, paralyzed people that who cannot move. After, okay, he discovered that patients at the hospital who had lost the use of their voice were only be able to communicate using a bell. That's amazing. So this is the meaning of limited choices about communication options for disabled people. That's really great. Now I think I have to show you the question number 4. And yes, okay. So which answer is the best?
Okay. Uh, I chose A.
Yes, that's amazing. Thanks God, because you are really fast. So according to the writer, why were early portable AACS problematic for those not in wheelchairs? Absolutely, people who are in wheelchairs, it is easy for them just to put the tools or equipments in a holster in the back of their wheelchairs. But what about the other people? So we notice here that if I want to read here, I can say that although they were advertised as portable, these devices often weighed a hefty 50 to 20 pounds and from 20 to 25 inches in size. So this is really big, and the meaning of bulky is big. So thank you so much. The correct answer is A. This is it. So this is the meaning, Joel, about detail, attitude, and opinion. So notice that the questions are going to be about the writer. What does the writer suggest? What is the attitude of the writer in this paragraph? Why the writer mentioned this opinion? Exactly. Thank you so much. All the answers are really correct. Now, let's complete by discussing the rest kinds of the questions. Okay. Now, in part C, we have a question which is about vocabulary. Let me try to make zoom in. Okay. So, which is about vocabulary. This is, to be honest, not only vocabulary, but the question about references are going to be the easiest. Now, vocabulary questions will present you with a single word or maybe phrase that will be underlined, or maybe this word is going to be written in bold. It is easy for you to notice in the question and absolutely in the text. Now, to answer these questions correctly, you need to take a look at the surrounding words. Please, some students think that the meaning of this vocab or phrase or idiom, for example, should be after the idiom, after the vocabulary. It's not a must to be that. You have to read the whole sentence. You have to check what we have next, what we have before the word. Absolutely, this is really important just to be able to select the correct meaning of this vocab. So I have to take a look at the surrounding words and deduce the meaning added by the word or maybe by the phrase. So these kinds of questions are not, let me go down in the page, are not testing your knowledge of identifying the certain word or maybe the phrase. If you want to itself, if you want to ask me why, because to be honest, sometimes the word, the certain word has more than one meaning, or maybe the phrase has more than one meaning, or the phrasal verb, maybe a certain idiom. So it's not about the meaning of the word itself, because the words in English have more than one meaning, so this is why I have to take a look before and after the idiom, the word, the phrase, just to be able to check the real meaning of this word or maybe phrase. So you should expect to answer one vocabulary question in each text in part C. So one, you have to expect that. The following list gives examples about vocabulary questions. This is a certain example. So the writer uses this phrase, cut corners, for example, to reinforce the idea that in the final paragraph, maybe the word or the phrase is going to be existed in the final paragraph. The writer uses the phrase in the loop to underline what is suggested about the attitude towards the trial by the use of the phrase on defense, for example. So this is it. This is about the vocabulary. Now, the same text, I'm not going to the same text and absolutely the same question, but let me make zoom in just to be able to see the question and the passage at the same time. If I want to make a little zoom in, can I do that? Yes, I can. Okay, now let's practice about vocabulary question. Now, this question is saying take 2 minutes and 30 seconds to answer two questions, not only one. Absolutely, I have to time myself correctly. Now, the writer uses this phrase, which is raising the bar, to underline the what.
Answer is B.
Is B. That's amazing. Thank you so much. Need for a diverse range of voices. So this is it. This is the word. We notice that the vocab is all the time written, is underlined, and absolutely it is written in bold. So this is it. Now, absolutely, I have to start reading from the beginning of the sentence. Maybe before that, it's not a must all the time from the beginning. So proponents of new digital voice banks are working toward the need for a diverse range of voices by steadily widening the scope for self-expression among the many millions of diverse users of AACS. Thank you so much. This is the exact meaning of toward raising the bar. Okay, so this is it. This question is about vocab, but it's not the end because we have two questions. Now take a look at the question number 6 and try to tell me the correct answer.
Mm. D.
It is D. Exactly. So this is it. Go extra the mile means the process is extremely time consuming. Now, this is time, go extra mile, absolutely. Absolutely, I have to start reading from the beginning of the sentence for the fully understanding of this word or this phrase. So, although voice donation doesn't require the contributor to physically give part of themselves away, as is the case with classic medical donations, donators certainly must go the extra mile. What does that mean? This is the exact meaning about this word. The donors have to, this is it, if I want to read, okay, not like just maybe donating the kidney, for example, it's just to donate a voice requires many weeks of donor commitment. Donors must speak many thousands of words, phrases, sentences into recording microphones. Exactly. So this is the correct answer, which is D. So this is the exact meaning about vocabulary question. This is really easy. Absolutely, I have to understand the whole sentence, the whole meaning, just to be able to write the correct meaning of vocabulary. Now, let's talk about the final type of questions, which is reference. Now, when I say reference, reference questions will ask you to decide what the word or the phrase underlined, or maybe that is written in bold in the question, absolutely in the text, refers to, or related to, or relates to. To answer the reference question, I might need just to be able to keep a track of what is being discussed in a long sections of text with complex sentences. I have to be careful, Joel, of complex sentences, compound sentences, complex compound sentences, because these sentences are really not are really long, and I have to be careful about them. So I have to expect to answer one reference question in each passage in part C. So now a certain question about vocab and a certain question about reference. Now, the following list give examples about reference questions. In the second paragraph, for example, what does the word it refer to? So we are talking about pronouns. I, you, we, they, he, she, it. For example, what does the word they refer to? Or maybe a phrase. It's not all the time to be a word or a pronoun, maybe a phrase. So for example, the phrase because of this, what does this mean or refer to, or because of this? Okay?
Okay.
So absolutely, we have to practice. Now let's practice about the final type of the questions, which is reference. Now take 2 minutes and 30 seconds to answer 2 questions. Now in the 5th paragraph, the word user refer to what?
The answer for 7, it's D.
It is D. Amazing. Thank you so much. This is it. So this is users. Absolutely. I have to go back to the beginning of